the fashion store was owned by the then mayor of Port Antonio and his wife. And he liked the idea of us being out there, so to be honest, he kind of pushed the decision for us to be there as well. Actually, the mayor came to me one day and said, well, you got the place, and I mean, I don't want to show off, but I really had to push it hard, because the people in there, in the parish council, said from the very beginning, I shouldn't get it because I'm a white woman. Poor little me sitting in Germany, 7,000 kilometers far away, and couldn't do anything, you know?
Well, your words were enough. Cause mommy cuss off me panic phone and mommy cuss off my you panic phone and say, "Oh, no better chat back to no one and it and the panic foolishness and whatsoever."
Mostly every year when I was in Germany, something would happen where they would
come
have to
you
call
know
me
I'm
and
going
I
like
would
say
have to
she
solve
want
problems.
boss me around and me not depend on.
Well, that is big sister.
Yes.
You know? Remember, there's an 8-year gap between the two of them.
Yeah, I mean not depend that. Hey my lovelies, it's your girl Mel. Welcome back to my channel. We are here with mommy. So now I already know, so it's another story time with mommy. Story time with mommy, story time with mommy. I don't know, I just had a burst of energy right now, so
Frightening.
that is what just came out. But yeah, mommy is going to continue her story time, so let's just sit and listen. Okay guys?
Disclaimer. The stories that I'm going to tell in this series are my experience, my truth, and my point of view over the past 38 years that I have been in Jamaica. And it's in no way intended to slander any person, the culture of Jamaica, or the island as a whole. Okay, yeah, last time we finished a story time with the prospect of something happening, but before we get there, I have to introduce another character into Mom's story. Actually, this person is a German. And one day he came in Yosh Cafe, and we have pasta on our menu from ever since. And he wanted a pasta Alfredo. So we made him one, and he sat and ate it. And he was like, oh my God, this is so good. It's so long since I have had something like that. And I love it, I love it, I love it. And seeing that he is a German and I'm German, we started to talk, and he started to tell me some of...
No, I'm just joking.
some of his life story and stuff, and his story basically at that point in time was that he was crew member on a smaller ship in the harbor that was docked in the harbor right across from the building where we were in at that time. And he said, oh, I'm so glad I discovered your place and stuff, so I'm going to come back. So he did. He came back over and over, and we started to talk more and more and more. And then I found out that he was pretty much unhappy on board of the ship where he was, because he thought that the captain of that ship didn't treat him properly. Well, I had nothing to say there, of course. And then what happened to him as well, he met a girl in the harbor and fell in love with her, and apparently she was in love with him too. And so I mean, he started to tell me about her, and he introduced her to me and stuff like that. Well, I know my Port Antonio people, but I kept my mouth shut basically. Which no, it's not true. You see, I have a policy. When people from abroad come to Port Antonio and they get involved with people from Port Antonio, I would not say anything unless they ask me. If they ask me, I will tell them whatever information I have about that person. Not putting them anywhere in any bad situation or making them look bad or anything, just saying, look, that is what I happen to know about that person. So basically he fell in love with this girl, and they turned up more often, and then it turned out that he had to go back. Now they were leaving on the boat to Mexico, so he left out, and then that was in about 2012 or something, and in a few weeks or months later I heard again from him. At that point in time, he was still very much in love with the girl in Port Antonio and decided to marry her. So basically, when I was stuck in Germany in the winter of 2013, he was in Germany as well. He lived in Potsdam, near Berlin. And his old mother was still alive, so he practically took care of her.
His old mother?
Yeah, because she was old. He was, come on, like, he was almost, he's not much younger than me, you know?
No, it just sounds weird to say
so
old
his mother was still alive,
Yes.
and he basically took care of her. And throughout my stock time in Germany, we kept in contact, and then he would call me and say, oh look, I found some nice wedding dresses for my girl, and when we come back to Jamaica, I'm going to marry her. And we asked her already, and yes, she said yes, and he was head over heels in love. So I came back to Jamaica after the whole disaster with this money part and so on. And shortly after, he turned up in Jamaica as well. And before that, we had talked in a way that he basically asked me if I knew a place to stay for him. So I offered him our extra bedroom for the time being in our house at the time in Norwich. And he agreed. So basically, the day came when we picked him up from the airport, and he would come and stay in the house. And his girl would stay in the house once in a while too, but mostly she was actually with her family. And then the next time came where he finally got married to her. And at that point in time, though, I had warned him. I had told him that maybe he should give the whole thing a little more time before I get married to her. But he was adamant. He was like, no, I love her, I want to marry her, and then later on I will carry her to Germany, and we are going to live happily ever after in Germany and stuff like that. And I said, okay, that's all I can do. I can ask you to give it some more time. That's all I can do. So they got married, and their little wedding reception took place in our cafe. He had indeed bought her a very nice dress, and he looked very fancy too, with suit and hat and everything. So they looked like a real wedding couple. It was nice. It was simple and nothing, not 1,000 people around.
So were you his what do they call it? Witness?
No, I was not. Because I had been witness for marriages quite often until that point in time. And a lot of the marriages didn't work out. So I said, I don't want to be involved in that anymore. So he had basically found his witnesses. And we have this one pastor here in Port Antonio. He is wonderful for weddings, because he is doing it in a way, it is still very formal, but he always puts in a few little jokes and a little lightness in the whole thing. And the people that I knew that went to him, they all loved it. So he got married, and then he wanted to stay in Jamaica for the time being and even get papers, because his wife wasn't ready to leave the island as yet at that point in time. So basically, he is a person. He can do a lot of things. Like Yosha, my son. Yosha can do plumbing. He can do electricity work. He can do mechanics. He can paint, he can tile, he can do a lot of things. Now, Rolf was the same thing. He knew everything, something about everything, and he was working thoroughly. And what happened to him too, he always found a solution. He was this person, he take something apart and sit in front of it and consider and try and consider again, and he actually get it fixed. You know, so I found that very amazing. And he liked to bake as well. He had a way to do smoked whatever, meat, fish, this, that, and the other. And he made nice rolls, nice bread, and stuff like that. He loved to cook as well, and so he was like a jack of all trades, basically. Which is important that I mention that, because when it came finally for us to vacate the Farmy building, vacate our restaurant at the Farmy building, that's when his story with us start even more intense. Now, we were still in 2013, and at one point in time there was an official meeting out at the craft village, which the craft village where we are in now, at that point in time it was built in, I think, 1998. And it was supposed to house the craft market in Port Antonio, but it is a slight bit outside of the center of the town. So all the craft vendors refused to go there. They wanted to stay in the back of the main market in town because it was right in the center, and they thought that was a better location for them to sell. So they refused to move out there. So basically from 1998 until 2014, that building wasn't used at all. It was empty. So at one point in time this meeting was announced, and it was supposed, the Minister of Tourism was supposed to be there with some other politicians and stuff, because what they were looking at to really revive the village, or put it finally to life, because I had never occupied anybody, which of course entitled a few repairs and stuff. And anyhow, I went to that meeting, I looked around and I said, damn, this is a nice place right by the sea, all wooden buildings on a wooden deck with high ceilings, and I was like, it almost reminded me of the marina. So I said that would be a nice place for us, because at that place now there were 3 restaurants on one side that were supposed to get occupied, and the rest of the shops were a bar and then art and craft. About 14 more shops, art and craft, all in one complex. So I loved the idea very much, and I thought, oh my god, how can I get a place in here now? Now, you know how life goes, you know, because what you're supposed to get, you will get. Across of Yash Cafe in the Farmy building was a fashion store, and the fashion store was owned by the then mayor of Port Antonio and his wife. So him now used to come in our place, get a little drink, buy a pizza, we start to chat and talk, and he realized we were good people and stuff. So when after I came from that meeting, he came in one day to have a drink, and I addressed him. I said, look, how is it possible maybe that I can get one of the restaurant spots there? And he said, well, all you do is you apply to the parish council, or I will take your application. And because he liked the idea of us being out there, actually he did get the bar at the time, not himself but somebody who was working for him. And he liked the idea of us being out there. So to be honest, he kind of pushed the decision for us to be there as well. And 2 more places were occupied. One was supposed to be a smoothie place, and one was supposed to sell seafood. So we applied because we did not have Jamaican food. We did not have seafood. Yeah, some few little dishes, but nothing too much. So our concept was basically the pizza, continental breakfast, salads, pasta, like not really Jamaican food. But to see that the seafood place would be there and a smoothie place would be there, we all thought it would be really nice to have this combination of different things. So I got to understanding finally that we would get one place, and actually the mayor came to me one day and said, well, you got the place, and I mean, I don't want to show off, but I really had to push it hard, because the people in there in the parish council said from the very beginning I shouldn't get it because I'm a white woman. So that was basically, so I had my landlord against me from the very beginning, because I don't know how he got to push me in, but he did. But he said, boy, it was hard, you know. So I was kind of, I don't know, I was kind of feeling away on one side, knowing that I was not really, or our concept wasn't really welcome there. But then again, I said, sure, why would I care? You know, I know that what we do is good. We have a good product, we have a good atmosphere, we have good service. And that is what should count, and not if I am a white woman or not. So that was within 2013, and then of course we couldn't move in right away because things needed to be fixed at the place, and it took a few months for it to be set. But then it turned out that earliest by March 2014 we would be able to move over. Until that time, the business situation in the family building had become even more severe. We barely made any money anymore, because what had happened in the meantime, in the past year, 2 more places had opened selling pizza as well. And their location was more convenient for many people than ours, because we were not really off, but the other places everybody would pass by.
Well, basically we were inside of a
big
building,
yeah,
while the others were directly at the, you know,
on the roadside,
pedestrian side.
Right, so people would pass by, look and say, oh, they have pizza, and go in there, instead of taking the few steps more to come to us. So it did cause a problem. It was not the quality of our product neither, because I mean the people that came to us or continued coming to us, they all said your pizza is still the best. So that was not the problem. It was directly like the location of the places themselves. And that really caused a lot of trouble for us, because I mean we were barely able to pay our bills anymore, and because the rent there, as it turned out, when I got the contract for the new place, the rent there would be quite a bit cheaper, about half of what we paid there. And well, it would have been much more affordable for us to be out there. Plus, I mean, I just, as I was mentioning before, I just love the location, and it really reminded me of my old marina at the time. So March 2014 came up and we moved.
I remember us having the conversation, or me being like, I don't know, because it's so outside of the town.
Many people told us that.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if it's going to work,
if it's going to be worth
and
it.
stuff like that.
Because if we had a problem already in the family building, not being in the center really, although we were pretty much in the center still, out there sound far. It was like 400 yards more outside, you know, than where we were now, or 500 say.
Yes, the main problem is just that unless you have something directly doing in that direction, you won't pass there.
Exactly.
That is the main. Right. Yeah.
No, it was not like a road where you would just pass because you were going to shop or to the bank or no, because out there was
only the people that live in that direction.
So a lot of people said, "Oh, are you sure you're going to move out there? That might be dangerous. You might not make any business whatsoever." But for some reason, I've told you several times already throughout my life, when it feels right here, I will do it, and it felt right. I was still insecure. Yes, I would not say that I ignored anybody or everybody around me, but somehow I said, no, we are going to risk it. Because seeing that in that place the business wasn't all that neither.
Nothing.
Oh. So the day came that it was end of February 2014 when we started to pack up our one place. And well, what comes then, I think, will be next story time, because the next part will take a little bit longer, so we can't fit it in 2 days. So keep your hanging again.
But can you mention that what happened with our chef from Farmy, because he didn't come with us to the next place, right?
Oh, but that was way before.
Oh, it was way before?
Yeah, that was way before. It was not just at that time. No, that was like we needed to change the staff at some point in time. And it was kind of difficult because that staff we had from the very beginning, from 2008, we had those 2 people working with us, and then our waitress became pregnant. And when she reached about 5-6 months of her pregnancy, she was always very tired and didn't feel so well and stuff. So she stopped working on her own account, because she said she can't manage anymore and she wanted to stay home. And so we said, well, sorry, but so you go. You know, it was better anyhow, because she was really barely working any longer. And then our chef, well, I had nothing to do with that one, because I was in Germany at the time and on the next Christmas market, and basically it is Mayumi and that chef kind of clashed, and she let him go.
Oh.
Oh.
Well,
so I was not really involved in that decision at all. By that time, Yosha was full-time in America, and Mayumi did run the business on her own while I was
what I can add to that though, let's give them this one little extra story. Remember when you were in Germany at that time, and Mayumi was basically responsible for me, and me and RD clash?
Well, you did always clash.
No, but that was the most serious clash we had. Don't you remember?
Not really.
When we weren't speaking, and she was giving me an allowance, saying I have to cook food for myself, and she cooks hers separately, and you had to call from up there and say, listen to me, Tuan, I gotta start chat back to one another, because this is not the way to deal with situations and stuff, just because I didn't. So it started this way. It started this way, right? So Mayumi was basically, you know, the responsible one for me, but them time that I was in 6th form already, so I'm 17. I was 18 already, probably.
2013.
That was
13. I was all 13, you know.
No, 2012.
Yeah, or 12.
I was what, 16, 17, somewhere there. So you know, so me feel like me a big woman anyways, and you know, regular stuff. And who wants to listen to their big sis, of course. So, but the main reason why she got upset with me was because, you know, on a daily basis she would just ask like, you know, what we're gonna eat for dinner today? And I would, to this day I do that, ask mommy. I would just be like, me not know. You know, I like,
never
me not know.
You never once me get an idea from her neither.
That's a lie. That's a big lie.
Once.
No, that's a lie.
Okay, twice.
No.
But me not give you money.
Yeah.
I give you money then.
So it's just like, you know, I just say like, I don't know. If I have an idea, I will say it, but more than likely I don't have an idea. Like, I don't know what I'm feeling for. I don't know. I just. But
at least she eats what I cook. So.
I do eat what they cook. So So she was getting annoyed with me not being able to suggest anything. She's like, every minute me have to think more what we are gonna eat and certain whatever. So that one got into like a back and forth. So I don't know what happened, but basically we did a cuss for one another, good. I don't remember if it got physical. I'm not sure, I don't think so. But basically, she said, alright, you are friend now. You respond for yourself and me respond for myself. So you cook for yourself and me cook for myself. So I say, alright, you know, me a big one with no business. I say, alright, no problem. So she basically was giving me money then to go to the supermarket and get stuff. So me make sure I call mommy. I say, mommy, this is the situation right now. My Yumi is giving me money to buy stuff for myself and say me for cook for myself and whatever. But the money, the amount of money that she gave me couldn't buy nothing at the first place, really. It was like way too little of money to do anything with. Cause me in a supermarket, you know, I think I was inside of the supermarket talking to you on the phone. Cause I'm like, I'm getting this and that and whatever, but the money would have never be enough. So yeah, I think a few days.
Mind you, the girl couldn't cook at the time, you know.
Yes, I could.
But
Of course, I couldn't help myself.
You start to cook late in your life. You weren't interested, really.
No, I was never interested. I'm still not interested, but I still could help myself.
Okay.
And I knew how to cook rice and noodles and all of them stuff there. So I was able to survive. Yes.
Not cooking a good meal, but survive.
It wasn't terrible neither. But yeah, so I don't know. I think mommy then ended up calling my Yumi. And then I talked to my Yumi. I said, no, oh, you have to do that. You can't get it was more about the amount of money that she gave me, because she's like, there's no way, because she must have given me that for the rest of the week or something, and it probably could only buy like one meal.
Okay.
And you were like, no, how she figure you so little if she had a plan to do something like that and blah 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 this and that. So she ended up calling back my Yumi and cussing out my Yumi. I said,
and poor little me sitting in Germany, 7,000 kilometers far away, and couldn't do anything, you know?
Well, your words were enough, because mommy cuss off me on the phone and mommy cuss off my Yumi on the phone and say, you better chat back to no one and another on the foolishness and whatsoever. So basically, I don't know, it was like probably 2 or 3 days that we weren't speaking for. I was still going to school in that time as well. And yeah, mommy called me and said, you better chat back to no one another, and then we have to talk back to one another, because you know, we don't dare defy mommy's orders. So we ended up talking back, and then it went back to normal. Basically, my Yumi was cooking. My Yumi still asked me why you want to feed myself. I don't know. But you know, I don't know, I guess it was like, in her eyes it was supposed to be like a little teaching moment, but it backfired on her. So sure,
I did not really remember that situation, because I mean, mostly every year when I was in Germany, something would happen where they would have to
you
call
know,
me
I'm
and
going
I
like
would
say
have to
she
solve
want
problems.
boss me around, I'm not dependent.
Well, that is big sister.
Yes.
You know? Remember, there's an 8-year gap between the two of them.
Yeah, I'm not dependent. No bossing around here. But yeah, but when my Yumi was in the shop alone, I would always be there with her in the evenings as well. So I would help out and stuff. So after school, sometime I didn't have my uniform, sometime I end up go home and change and come back. But you know, I was mainly at the restaurant with my Yumi in those times for sure. But yeah, that was just my little addition, because that happened in the old restaurant.
Yeah, sure. Interesting.
And
see, she remind me of things that I forget.
There is another story time that's going to come from that segment, because they have to do with like some weed brownies, my Yumi's famous weed brownies, and they're like a few stories, so we're just going to make one single story time out of that. But they're going to be the ones that have to tell you about it, because them eat it and them go through it.
What?
I was just a bystander.
I did not touch them.
I was just a bystander watching everything that's happening and laughing and stuff. Like so that's going to be one of the next story times, and hopefully the next story time that you will see after this will be of Yasha's proposal story. You know, I've asked them to record something for me, so hopefully we get it done, and that will be the next story time. But that will pretty much be it for this story time. Thank you so much for watching. You know, this is just the update up until 2014. Yeah, you know, regular stuff, not always anything exciting or out of the way, or nobody, no gunman I can't look for we or nothing like that. It's just
not that time.
It's just regular life stories. Exactly, not that time. There is going to be a gunman story in the future.
Stay tuned.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.